ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a brand new movie combat.
MovieKombat.
Yep. Wait. You can't do that because we get copyright strike.
Oh right, yeah. I
Yeah.
was just trying to make my own version of it.
Have you heard about that? This is not what this show is about. Anyway, we'll get into the intro. My name is Ryan A. Moore, but joining me on this movie journey is...
It's Josh, and I have heartburn.
Oh, that's gross. Do you need a glass of water?
No, I got water.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyway, this is Movie Combat, where we watch a movie and then we sit down and we talk about it and discuss some of the cool parts about it, some of the maybe not so great parts about it.
Yeah.
But in this season 1 of Movie Combat, because hopefully we can continue this show if it does so well. And remember, the only way that we know it's doing so well is by you guys watching, you guys sharing it, going on all of the social medias and sharing this podcast. You can listen to this podcast audio in 2 different ways. You can go on iTunes and go and subscribe to Primal Target right there. And if you're an Android, oh, don't worry, my friend, because over on Podbean, we are available there. So you can download those to your phones as well. But if you're more of a, hey, I just watch YouTube, don't worry, because there's a video version of this podcast as well. So go over there to YouTube and go and subscribe. And there you can actually do comments. And you can say, oh, I thought this about this movie. And guess what? We are in the 3rd episode of our Predator and Alien series. The only reason why I say that is because chronologically, it's Predator and Alien.
Yes.
We are going through the timeline as if they were going through their own timeline.
Yeah,
Because they're in the same universe.
Sequential order.
Yeah. So in the first episode, we watched Predator. In the second episode, Predator 2. And now in the 3rd episode, we watched Alien versus Predator.
Yes.
That came out in 2004. The 2004 sort of film that came out,
Yeah.
Alien versus Predator.
Yeah, if you want to call it that, I guess. I mean,
Yeah. So I guess let's kind of go into it. I don't know. I introed it, so why don't you kick us off?
I'm just gonna say it was a literal cold open because it opened in Antarctica.
Actually, it's quite a temperature change in the sense
Yeah.
of in the movies, because we've been watching all Predator movies.
That's a good call. I
First
didn't
2
even think
Predator
about that.
movies were in boiling hot weather.
Yeah, lots of sweaty people.
Yeah, lots of sweaty men.
Yeah.
And now we have a very cold chick,
Yeah.
but she's smoking hot. Yeah, so in the very beginning, we see the Wayland satellite, which is the first time we're actually seeing something alien related.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because the Whaling Corp, this is before, well, I guess I'm not trying to spoil it, but the Whaling comes up later in the timeline.
Yeah,
and it's a
yeah.
corporation. We'll just say that. But, yeah, you see the satellite. This is
Oh,
your...
are we gonna play the timeline dumb?
Well, I don't know.
We
I
can
mean,
if we want. We can do that.
Because, I mean, I'm assuming that if people are listening to this and they're watching them along with us for the first time.
Yeah, okay,
or
we'll do that. We'll do
watching
that
movies
then.
for the first time. I don't want to spoil anything for the ones that we have seen.
Yeah. So, brief description of what Wayland, what is it? Enterprises is
Industries.
is in this movie. The Mr. Wayland or whatever his name
Yeah,
is.
Charles Bishop Whalen.
Yeah, is leading. He's trying to do like I put it, the Avengers of archaeologists.
Yeah, basically.
He's getting all of the
Yes,
people.
I'm putting a team together.
Yeah, exactly. And he even had like a Nick Fury kind of guy. It was a British Nick Fury.
Yeah, I think that was the same dude from Resident Evil. Wasn't it?
I actually have never seen Resident Evil.
Oh, we're gonna make
Yeah,
that.
we gotta
that'll
make
be
another
a season
thing.
because
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
like 9 of those.
Yeah. Yeah, but then we see what is it? Oh, the worker. Oh, so there's something that flies through past the satellite.
Yes.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. Past the satellite in the very beginning of the movie, and the workers see something on their little blip radar thing. If
Yep.
you actually notice, they are actually watching Frankenstein on the TV.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what they were watching, but I wasn't. I don't think I was paying enough attention. I think I was typing something.
Yeah. And then we kind of see the first of the archaeologists because oh wait, no. Is the woman the first one they pick
Yeah,
up?
yeah,
Okay,
because
all
I
right.
put cut to main character.
Got it. I do
And
have her name somewhere down here.
yeah, I can't remember her name. And then I got it wrong because it turns out he's Italian. But when I first did it, I put cut to some Mexican dude because he was in Mexico with his friend.
I wrote Jurassic Park, but without the dinosaurs.
Yeah, pretty much. Instead, it was a Pepsi Cola bottle cap.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just really strange because like the first thing that I noticed about this movie as I was watching it is that it just kind of flies by.
Yeah, it's very much like, all right, here are some characters,
Yeah,
and this is what's gonna happen to them later. You obviously know they're not gonna make it, so like, here we go.
yeah,
Like,
it's really quick and it's just like cut to main character, introduce main character, she's on the team. Cut to the dude with his friend in Mexico. Okay, they're on the team. And then I think it cuts to old school digital camera. I made a note
yeah,
of
I wrote
that.
selfie on the airplane.
Oh
The
yeah.
camera guy takes a selfie on the airplane.
Yeah, because that was
And then he goes,
the
"Can you
Irish
take a
dude.
picture
Yeah.
and then it takes a pic, and he turns, and then he
Yeah.
goes, "Oh, can you take another one?" And then, what a bitch! She
Yeah,
just
she's-
hands the camera back to him. I'm like, what the? So
Like I guess yeah, he didn't get a chance to smile. So I just called him Irish the entire time because
Irish.
I didn't understand what he said when he introduced himself.
Nice.
So I was just like, all right, you're Irish. Like that's what I know. And then location. I put that because it just kept cutting from place to place and it kept flashing up on the screen. It was like Nebraska, space, Mexico, Antarctica, so and so place. You know, and
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
damn, we are just jumping. Like, you know,
yeah, because as far as we know, all of what has just happened in like 48 hours.
Yeah,
but
basically.
in logical stance, all that travel probably took months.
yeah.
But we just jumped all ahead of it all.
Yeah, because they would have to get like several people because it was the same dude recruiting everybody. So there's no possible way he could have gone because that chick was in Nepal. She was halfway across the world during the daytime, which meant it would have been like night.
Oh,
over
she's
in, like,
climbing the mountain.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
she was
yeah.
ice climbing with like no safety gear.
Yeah.
And how'd she even get on that icicle? Like,
Because she's badass.
yeah, it was
That's
like
it.
it
That's
was
all you
hanging-
need to explain.
it was hanging over the edge of a cliff, and somehow she climbed it from the bottom.
Yep.
I don't really get it, but anyway, yeah. So they
By
were
herself, too.
yeah. That was the weird thing too. She was all on her lonesome, like, and she had a cellular phone that got great reception. It's really weird. So yeah, so the dude recruited her from Nepal, and then he turned around and went to Mexico and recruited these two guys. And it was like, how did he get there so fast? Like that would have taken like 16 hours.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Like, and then the Irish dude, they don't even show his recruitment.
He's just on the helicopter.
Yeah, I guess he was there when he got the girl, but it was shot out of order. So we meet the Irish dude after he went and picked up the Italian dude in Mexico.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's,
But then
it's a little convoluted, but
when they get to because they pass the helicopter, or on the helicopter, the main girl and Irish are flying on the helicopter, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, we passed no point of return." So the NPR, no, oh wait, no, point of no return.
point of safe.
Yeah,
return or
whatever. They
something.
pass the point of no return, but they abbreviate it.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I wish they would have told me so I could take a picture." And then she's like, it actually means the
Oh,
point of no return."
The PSR, the point
Yeah,
of safe return.
Point
I
of
think.
safe return,
That's
because they
right.
were like halfway, and if they would go halfway back, they like
Yeah.
from now they couldn't make it back
Yeah,
to
they,
land.
they used over half their fuel at that
Yeah,
point.
and I'm like, oh my
51%.
god, this is... But and then they land on the ship, like this like freight ship, I don't even know.
Yeah,
and then
pretty
they're in this like chamber getting debriefed and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Whalen comes out and
Oh.
he tells about. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no! I just wanted to say that another character was introduced real quick because Irish was playing on like a Zamboni kind of thing, or like a ski trawler. I don't know. It gets through the snow, and the one dude who was like, "Get off of that!" That dude was he played Chibs in Sons of Anarchy. I don't know his real name, but he was also in like Gladiator and a couple other movies. He's got a bunch of scars on his face, and like I'm sure people would recognize him. But I just wanted to make a note of that character.
So when they get there and they're getting debriefed by Mr. Whalen comes out and he tells the mission on a pop star mic. But here's what is irritating. Why does he have a microphone and everyone else is talking normal and they can hear each other fine?
Yeah.
So like, what was the point of having the
That is kind of
microphone
weird. And
if they can hear him and he can hear them?
yeah, and then he took it out halfway through and started talking to him like normal.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty dumb. But anyway, yeah.
Huh. Yeah.
I wrote the main girl's hot.
So, oh yeah, and so he explains that basically their satellite, his company satellite, found a pyramid that's 2,000 feet below this ice island that's part of Antarctica, and they've got to get down there. And there's a ton of characters that we don't even get introduced to.
Yeah, they
There's
just get
like
they're
yeah,
literally
red
what do they
shirts.
call that? Oh yeah.
Yeah. So they're all just throwaway, like tertiary extras. Like you don't even know. Like there's the main cast, which is the one dude who was recruiting him. I caught his name when he well later on we'll find out. But I caught his name at some point later in the movie. His name was Max, I think. And then there's Bishop, and then there's the main chick, and then there's Italian and Irish and Chips. And so those
Chips.
so those are the main crew. And then they have some secondary characters which are kind of like some of these scientists that are kind of
Yeah.
tagging along.
Yeah.
And then there's the throwaway characters which are basically all the crew members of the
Cannon
ship.
fodder. Or
Yeah,
what do they
cannon
call it?
fodder,
Yeah,
yep.
fodder. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just this whole like, because that's the problem. Is like in the first two movies, they do at least tell you who the main character is.
Yeah,
because they tell you over and over and over and over
Yeah,
again.
they introduce them naturally, like because like they start talking to each other like real people.
Yeah,
You
and then
know?
but with this, it's like they don't know each other either, so they don't refer to each other as their first name, and so you don't ever get to hear their names constantly throughout the movie.
Yeah.
because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
Because by the time they're like in the chamber later on in the movie, we're skipping ahead, but just as a reference, you still don't know who the hell they are.
Yeah.
there's like
And-
14 people in that room.
And a few of them are calling out each other's names, but I can't understand half of them because they all have like really heavy accents because
Yeah.
most of them are from different countries and stuff.
Anyway, after the little I don't know
Oh.
pop star micro thing, they zoom out all the way to the spaceship, and we get to see 3 Predator helmets.
I do
Or
want
you have something before that?
I just want to mention something. So if you were watching Bishop, he was in the office, right? And he started doing this thing with a pin where I forget what it's called. I think it's like
Oh, 5-finger fillet.
Yeah, so, I guess is that what it's called?
Yeah, the game where you take the
The
hand and then
knife
you
or
take
whatever?
a knife and you stab it between them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you were watching that, just keep that in the back of your
Yeah,
mind,
we'll
okay?
we'll refer to that later on in the season.
Yeah.
but yeah.
It's-
Anyway,
it's just a key little thing.
I didn't notice that. I did
Yeah,
not
it's like an Easter egg. I kind of. So just pay attention to that, and then and Bishop, I guess he's kind of crazy.
so after we get off the Predator ship, it goes back down to the main character talking to this like short-haired, pixie-haired chick, and the main girl goes, "Why bring it?" Referring to her gun.
Oh yeah,
and
the,
so
the
and she
condom
goes,
line.
she goes, same principle as a condom. I'd rather have one and not need it than need it and not have one.
Yeah, that was like the first quote that I. Well, there were a couple little quotable lines that I remember, but it seems like this movie's full of idioms as opposed to memorable quotes.
How do you mean?
Like, so there was another one earlier where the lady was saying, "I'd rather lead my team than leave them." You know?
Oh yeah,
Or,
there's
or,
God,
or there's
yeah.
like later on. I mean, it's not really a surprise, but it's like, "Oh, the enemy of my enemy is my friend."
that.
you
Yeah,
know?
that's yeah.
things like
it's
that. It's
very-
like they're trying to come up with all these witty remarks, but it's like, dude, those are just idioms.
yeah,
you
those
know?
are those have already been said.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then they looked at the moon and they referred to it as the hunter's moon.
Oh yeah. I just want to say that the main chick. Okay, so like they're trying to get down in this pyramid, and she's all like, "Oh, it's going to take a week," or well, one guy's like, "It's going to take a week to drill down there," and then she's like, "Oh, and it's another 3 weeks to train."
Her name's
them."
Lex. Her name's Lex.
Oh, okay.
Because I wrote it
Lex.
down somewhere down here. Her
It-
name's Lex.
And so she's like, "Oh, it's going to take 3 weeks to train all these people and to like train them how to climb and use their gear, blah blah blah." And then Bishop's like, "I don't got that long." So she's like, "Oh, well then I'm not going to do it." And there's like some time, like 5 or 10 minutes of them trying to convince her to do it or whatever by like hiring crappy people, and then
Yeah.
a couple Italian and Irish talk to her and try. And they're trying, and they're trying to like cheer her up or whatever. But so eventually she concedes, and she's like, "Okay, I'll take you guys down there, but I got 3 simple rules. 1, no one goes alone anywhere. 2 is constant communication, and 3, no one tries to be a hero. And then I wrote, how fast will it take for them to break these rules?
Do you have them?
And I have a couple.
Okay,
yeah.
all right. So we'll go through the.
So and then they go to that
The
thing
whaling
with
station.
with the hunter's moon. I was gonna.
Oh, the hunter's moon.
Yeah,
Okay,
because
got
I
it.
wrote
before
down
the whaling
La
station.
Luna de Cacciadora.
Yeah, I was
or
trying to
something
write
like
it, but
that.
I just kind of zipped by it.
Yeah, I kind of got.
It's in Italian.
La Luna de Cacciadora, I think is what he said.
Yeah. And then, which
But-
means the hunter's moon. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they go to the whaling station.
But there's something about the whaling station that kind of struck me. There's something about this whole movie. They take a lot of stuff from a lot of other movies that I'm like, they tried to implement into their own
Okay.
way. For example, the whaling station looks exactly like the station that the Thing was set.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because
yeah.
I was getting definitely like the Thing kind of
Yeah,
vibes.
it had that ominous wind sound.
Yeah, and I'm like,
it
this
was
looks
dark,
exactly
creepy.
like that.
Yeah.
But I honestly thought they were gonna reference it, like, because they kept making references to like in 1904 everyone disappeared from the whaling station, but then later on they explain what happened.
Oh,
and,
gotcha. Okay.
Um,
And then, so immediately, rule 1 is broken because Irish wanders off alone.
oh yeah, and then
Yeah.
sees the killer penguin.
Yes, and that's what I wrote. I put killer penguin.
Nice.
yeah, because he's freaking out. You hear all these crazy alien sounds, and it's like, oh, dude. Yeah, it's like you're thinking he's gonna get got by whatever it happens to be, and then Lex shows up and taps him on the shoulder, and she's like, "No one goes alone, remember?" And then a
He goes,
penguin.
right there. There's something over there.
Yeah, and then a killer little penguin pops out, and
Yeah.
and it's like wandering around making weird sounds that penguins don't naturally make.
Yeah. So and then they get to this giant hole that is obviously the predator. The predators have like launched this laser
Yes.
beam to like cut this perfect. If you actually look at the house that they point to, it's perfectly cut, just
Yeah, I
like
saw
it.
that. It was really cool.
I thought it was kind of good too.
I will say, as like the CGI in this movie is not great, but it's not bad. Like it's,
Yeah, because they have more practical effects,
and that's what I was gonna say. The practical effects are fantastic.
Yeah.
Like I thought they were great.
But when you do see digital stuff, they definitely look digital.
It's mostly when the aliens are really mobile,
Yeah.
like when they're running around on the walls and jumping all over the place. But when the predators are hand-to-hand combat, all that stuff seems to be practical. And
Some of it, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess except for like their tails and stuff. But like the close-up shots, because like the mouth and like Netface, who we will come to know later. Yeah, like all that close-ups and stuff of those, they are all really good. I just really enjoyed the practical effects in this movie. And I mean, the aliens, they kind of look a little dopey compared, or not the aliens, but the Predator, I mean.
They look fat.
Yeah,
They look
a little-
overweight.
Yeah, they look a little dopey, but I mean, well, I'll
Chunky
make,
predators.
Yeah, I'll make a comment about that later because
Okay.
we find out something about the Predators later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that I guess kind of alludes to that a little bit.
Okay.
You know?
They also we get to see the predators suit up.
Yes,
which is kinda
yes,
cool.
Predators preparing for hunt is what I wrote. Yeah, because they're like in this little chamber where when they stepped into the pyramid, somebody stepped on a stone and it like activated.
That hasn't happened yet.
Oh no, that didn't happen
Yeah,
yet.
this is before that. They suit
Oh
up.
no, you're right. Yeah. My bad.
No, that's fine. Because we're not too far away from that.
Yeah.
But there's
that's a couple minutes away. Yeah.
Lex also is talking to Mr. Whalen about because we
Yes.
find out Whalen is dying.
Yes.
Go figure.
Yeah.
But that the rich guy going on this expedition's dying.
Yep.
And
He
and then
needs this.
Yeah, and then Lex talks about how like she journeyed to Mount Rainier. It was her first summit,
Yeah.
which was like yeah. And then
Shout out Seattle.
and then she climbed Mount Rainier with her dad, and before she passed out, like because of the lack of oxygen, she shared like her dad. Her dad was about to pass out.
her dad like
Broke
broke
his
his
leg.
leg.
Yeah, and they shared champagne together at the
Yes.
summit. And then he passed out, and then
he got a blood clot which moved into his lung.
yeah. So by the time they get back to camp, he actually passed away or something.
Yeah,
like that.
they were 20 minutes from the base camp, and he died like right before they reached it.
Yeah, and then Mr. Whalen goes, "Do you think that the last thing he is thinking is him dying on the way back, or do you think his last memory that he'll cherish forever is sharing champagne with his daughter.
Yeah.
And then that's pretty much like the, hey, fuck you, like I'm gonna do my own thing.
And that's when he says, "I need this."
Yeah, I need this is for me.
Yeah. And then as they're climbing down, here's where rule number 3 is broken, because as Waylon, something happens outside, like a tent or cover or something slips and gets caught in their like little wire things that they're leading, because they're going down this tunnel planting lights and stuff. And then Waylon's thing breaks, I guess, and he starts sliding down. Everybody's like, catch him, and they're all trying to get him or
they
whatever.
don't. They don't at all. Like, watch that scene again. None of them attempt. None of them even attempt to do it. They're just like,
oh, okay.
And then,
so I guess they listen to the rules, but then the main chick,
Lex then takes a pickaxe.
and slams it down like right into his coat and stops him from sliding down. And she's all like, "Yeah, I'm badass."
Yeah,
and it's
bullshit on that.
You just said no heroes. Like, if he slipped, weren't you just supposed to let him go in case somebody else got pulled with him or whatever? You know. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's like a rule of mountain climbing or whatever. So, as far as I'm concerned, she broke her own rule.
Yeah, that's actually the next thing I have. Waylon almost dies down the biggest slide ever.
Yeah. Yeah, he wouldn't have died. That just would have been a really long ride.
And then I made a mention at this moment in time, we have seen a lot of flares. Like a lot of flares have been shot, thrown, broken, lit, and then dislit, and then for some reason the one that they lit the second time lasts forever.
Yeah.
I don't know what this logic is, but
Yeah, they had a lot of flares.
But then we get to the booby trap, which is 29 minutes in. I don't know why I wrote that. Oh, yeah, because the booby trap raises the alien queen from the frozen chamber at 29 minutes.
Yeah, because that's when they step on that little stone and activate the pyramid. And right before this, like, we see the predators coming down to Earth, and they sneak by the crew on the top part, because some people are setting up a base camp or whatever, and their ship just glides by without making a sound, and then they shoot like little self-contained pods, and they fall into the ice or whatever. So the predators are like now actually on land at this point.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to note: invisible spear when Predator kills everyone in the whaling station.
I wrote that too. Yeah, because when they basically you see the predators show up, they slaughter everyone.
Predators at 32 minutes.
Yeah, and then I put that spear invisible, reveal Preds, huh? Like,
because and if you guys remember in the last episode when we talked about Predator 2, the spear wasn't invisible.
Yeah.
But now in this movie it is, which this one's the next step in the timeline. So
I'm curious if they either updated technology or the other guy's spear was malfunctioning.
Now I do want to know, Predator 2 came out or took place in 1997.
Yeah.
While this one takes place in 2004. So years have passed.
Right.
And
who knows what it's like on the Predator's home planet?
Exactly,
it could be even twice as long.
Yeah,
you know.
And then and then Predator like pushes one of the guys, and the guy slides down the hole, doesn't grab any of the cables.
Right.
And we'll get back to that in a second.
And then cut.
Yeah, and then it goes back to the queen laying eggs, which is the most gross thing ever.
Well, don't forget too, because they do the sacrificial chamber.
Does that happen?
Yeah, that happens
okay.
right before.
I don't think I wrote that one down actually.
Oh, okay, yeah, because the humans are walking.
Really? Because at 32 minutes, Predator shows up, but then the queen lays eggs at 34 minutes.
Yeah, but they enter the chamber before she lays.
That happens in 2 minutes?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, because so the predators reveal themselves. And then they
No, that doesn't happen yet. I have humans take the weapons down below.
No, that's different.
Oh wait, what are you talking about?
The sacrifice chamber with the people.
Oh yeah, so they walk in there for the first time.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. You're not saying when things start to happen.
Right.
Okay,
right.
got it.
Yeah,
because
this is when they're still.
That's my bad.
Yeah, because they've just entered the pyramid, and they're still like walking around discovering stuff, and so then they walk into this human sacrifice chamber. It has 7 beds with 7 dead bodies, and then like at the end of the bed, there's these little like bowl looking things. And then as they're like kind of looking through they're like looking at the dead bodies basically, and then they realize that that like the bones and stuff. I think the bone part comes a little bit later, but essentially it's in the same room where they're looking at the bones and they're like, oh, this is weird. Like, oh well, it's normal. They take their hearts, but the bones have been burst from the inside.
Yeah, the pixie-haired chick says that the bones have popped out of the like they're going from the inside. They're pushing out. Ooh.
Ah.
Sorry about that. They're going
Yeah.
from the outside.
So
Anyway.
yeah, and then that's where then it cuts to the
Then it
predator
cuts to the queen,
or predator queen.
yeah, the alien queen,
Yeah.
the xenomorph queen,
Yes.
laying eggs at 34 minutes, which is this like
Yeah.
like
Oh
this,
yeah.
like,
Her. Yeah, and it's really funny
and this like
because
snot noodle like pushing out these little eggs.
and it's funny because I know that's called an ovipositor because it's like the same thing that ants and like queen bees and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically their abdomen. Like when you look at an ant and it's got like 3 sections, that's the queen. So when the queen like, well, we'll talk about that later.
So now, immediately after the queen is done laying eggs,
Yes.
we cut back to the guy.
Yes.
This is what pisses me off. Why is he frosted over?
Yeah, I guess
He's
been
been
laying
down there for what?
Maybe 5 minutes.
No, you cannot frost over in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That he has to be there for at least a half an hour.
Yeah.
Like 20 minutes
Which means,
minimum.
So how long? So I guess
That's what I'm saying.
It took
How-
a while for the predators to get down
But
there.
the thing is like, then we jump back after that because then the predators kill him. But then
Which
after
is
that,
funny
we jump back to the crew searching still. What the fuck? How are they? How long were they in that one room?
Oh, I don't know.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Is like they haven't
the-
left the room yet before we cut back.
Yeah, the passage of time in this is a little jumbled because it seems like because I did make a couple notes about a couple other things when the pyramid starts getting kind of crazy, but yeah, it like, and the funny thing is too is the guy was frosted over, right? So theoretically he should have been able to hide from the predators, and 2 of them walk by, but then the third one kills him.
Yeah.
But then I was thinking about it, I was like, oh, I wonder if they saw him breathe out, like.
Or the first 2 had their thermo on, and then the third predator had the one vision that the
like
other
for the
predator in Predator
aliens
2.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That was like the ultraviolet light,
Yeah.
and then they have one special.
I'm
for,
really
like,
giving them the
aliens.
benefit of the doubt on this one
Yeah.
though, because yes, you're right.
Yeah,
they
I thought that was
probably
weird.
should not have seen them at all.
Yeah,
And then they get to the coffin, which is set to 1904.
yeah.
Was the
and
last
then,
time it was open.
and this is when they break the second rule because the humans split up, main characters and red shirts, and then so essentially they can't communicate with each other.
From the giant hole though.
Yeah,
Because
but,
there's
I mean,
a hole that's
there's-
leading right down to the
Yes.
from the sacrificial chamber all the way down to this coffin.
Yeah,
thing.
Max dropped a glow stick, and he's like, "Oh, there's another room down there." So then they're like,
Glow stick.
yeah, so they split up, and then yeah, because the main crew. Well, I already told you the main crew, and so like yeah, they're the ones that go down to the sarcophagus.
I just want to know, why is it that when they said it, because apparently October 10th, 1904 was the previous time.
Right.
So then they turn it to October 10th, 2004, and then it does it again.
Yeah.
Why? By changing this 100 years, it just opens?
Oh well, they do kind of explain it a little
Or
bit.
is it 04? Is it 10? Is it 10/10/04? And that's why they were able to unlock it?
Well, it happens every 100 years.
Okay, but why October 10th?
Oh, that I don't know why. It's, yeah, I don't know why it's the specific day.
Yeah.
I just know, yeah, just the year.
Okay.
Maybe it is because it's like, yeah, 101004. Huh.
What's that in binary?
Yeah.
wait, there was a 4 in there. Never mind.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the significance of that would be.
But then Lex tells everybody,
Um,
don't take the weapons.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
And they take the weapons.
Immediately, yeah, and the Italian dude screaming at him too, because I think he was trying to explain like, oh, this is all like ancient sarcophagus and blah blah blah, and he's like, don't touch anything, but everybody like basically Chibs and like one of his lackeys,
It's not a-
like they're hanging out and they take the weapons because they're like, oh, we're gonna take. Oh, and I think Max did too, because he was telling Lex wanted to go back to the ship because she was like, okay, we found what we needed to find. We came in here, we claimed the site. Let's go back. And then Max was like, no, we're not going back, you know. And then Bishop was trying to tell him, but then I think that's when because that's when upstairs, that's when stuff starts going down.
Yeah, but 40 minutes, eggs are served.
Yeah, exactly. So the eggs that the queen was laying have come up through these little bowl-shaped things or whatever, and there's 7 of them. But there was only 6 crew members. So there's an extra face hugger. Well, I mean, I don't know if we ever actually see that particular face hugger because I mean we see a shit ton of face huggers. In
Yeah,
the whole
we
movie.
see a slow-mo face hugger.
But yeah, they do the yeah, it was Matrix styley, you know. It was
And
like,
then they do the pan, and then it
Yeah.
jumps over and latches onto somebody.
yep, and poor Pixie Hair, she gets she gets first got, and then it gets all the rest of the people upstairs, and she had a gun with her, but she missed and didn't shoot anything.
And then 4 minutes later,
Yeah.
the babies are born.
Now, this is the thing that kind of pisses me off because it's inconsistent throughout the movie as far as the chest bursters are concerned.
Yeah.
Because they burst out of well, Pixie Hair is the first one to die. Her facehugger's already delatched when everybody else is still on.
That's true. And one of them is actually even still choking out that other guy.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
like wrapping around his neck at at that time when she wakes up.
So I'm curious if he's the last one to get got. And then yeah, and so then immediately afterward the chest burster pops out of her chest, which seems kind of fast to me. But I mean we'll see.
Yeah, again, what is up with the timeline in this whole movie? This is like the most inconsistent amount of like from the guy that iced over in literally less than 4 minutes to the guy to her getting popped out in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like how much time is passing right now? Cuz when we cut back to the main crew, their timeline is consistently just like minutes, like following the actual like
because they're
slow
literally
the movie.
They're literally just leaving that chamber that they had picked up the weapons in, and when they picked up the weapons, that's what activated the eggs in the first place.
Yes,
I don't know if we mentioned that, but because essentially that was the cue. Okay, and then it's funny too because when they pick up the weapons, the predators look at each other like, "Oh shit!" And then they start
because they don't have the weapons. Because
Yeah,
like
they're like, "Oh,
this
fuck,
whole
the
time,
pyramid's been activated."
yeah. Because the thing is this whole time it's the predators' training ground.
Yeah.
Is what this whole temple is. So when the predators show up, they're like, "Well, we're just gonna, this is what we've been training for." Like as far as we know, the predators have been like they've gone to school, they've done all of the training they need to do, and this is their final test.
Yeah.
The chosen ones.
See,
and they're like, "All right, yeah, we're finally gonna do this."
Yeah, 'cause
Jim, Bob, and Robert are gonna go down and like finally conclude their testing, and then all of a sudden the humans are just messing everything up to them.
I don't think they expected more than 7 humans is what the problem was because they were used to doing this ritualistically like every 100 years.
Yeah.
And so, and I was just thinking about it. Maybe it was because since they were using the Mayan calendar, it might be in. I think they had mentioned something about it being in things of 10 because when they activate the pyramid, the one dude, Italian, figures out that the pyramid it starts morphing like a Rubik's cube, essentially, and then it changes every 10 minutes. So he figures that out like after the second or third go. Yeah, it sets an alarm, and so the predators are freaking out because the pyramid's moving around, and so then they go and start chasing or start booking it to try to get their weapons back.
Yeah, I wrote wall-to-wall predator jump.
Yes, yeah,
because he does the
well that
the like waving as he's jumping kind of thing.
So I wrote which ones. So one of Chib's lackey, he gets trapped in his own little spot.
Yeah, everyone gets separated in the pyramid.
Yeah, and then Chib's an Irish, and then the main characters. So then the lackey gets killed by an alien
at 50 minutes.
Yes, and then I remember another one of those idioms was Irish. He's like, "Oh, we're rats trapped in a maze," and it's like, "Oh my god!" And then Chibs breaks his leg, and then he gets killed. And then Irish gets killed, and then Max gets. Oh well, I guess I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I just wrote when everybody's dying, basically.
So we get to see the constricting net after we see Alien for the first time as well. Just 1 minute later, Predator shoots the constricting net that we saw in Predator 2.
Yeah,
and then Alien does get the kill at 53 minutes in.
Yeah,
so the score is 1-0 at this moment.
Yeah, because Max gets killed. the Predator shoots the net at Max, and then Max gets killed by the net. Well, he's getting constricted by the net, but he's got his gun, so he was holding it. And then the Predator like runs him through with the spear, and then the Predator gets killed by an alien running his tail through the Predator's chest.
Reason why I'm laughing is because I actually wrote Fat Predator.
Oh, okay. And then this is the reason. Okay, so now that you wrote that, the reason why I think it's kind of funny is because they're reading all these hieroglyphics as they're going throughout the thing, and it's like only the chosen ones can enter here, and then it's like, oh, like it's a hunting ground or the hunters or blah blah blah. That's what they're reading on the weapons and stuff like that. And so what they figure out as they're going through the movie is that basically this is a place of a rite of passage, right? And then it's a training ground for a final mission, but it's like essentially them coming into their manhood, essentially, like, and so I'm thinking like, oh, these are teenage predators, you know, like that's, I think the girl even mentions it, Lex. I think she even says something about them. Oh, maybe they're teenagers, you know? And so,
yeah, wow.
yeah, and I thought that was really funny because it's like, oh, maybe that's why they all look
They're
weird.
just hopped up on Predator Doritos and Predator Mountain Dew.
Yeah, and they're going through puberty, so it's like they don't
So
they
they're
don't
just
know their own,
overweight.
yeah, they don't know their own bodies, you know, like they're kind of disproportioned in weird places.
Okay.
and like the main predator, because there's 3 of them, right?
I really wish they drove that one home, because that would have made this
Yeah.
movie way better than it was.
Yeah, because there's 3 predators. There's the one who gets killed right away, and then there's Clawface who fights an alien, and then I call that an alien Netface because he shoots a net at him, and well, first he gets his tail cut off, and he's spurting
Yes.
acid everywhere.
Yeah.
So he loses his spear tail essentially, and then he shoots a net at him, and it digs into his shoulder and his face, but he breaks through the net, and so then he became Netface, and then he had scratched the other predator's face, and so I was like, oh, Clawface, and so then he ends up killing him at some point. I can't remember exactly how he does it.
56-minute mark, alien gets the second kill.
Yeah.
Predator,
he
0.
Yeah, it like puts its second mouth right through his skull, even through the mask.
Yes,
Like,
yeah.
that's a hard. Netface is a hardcore alien,
Yeah.
dude. And so yeah, so he ends up killing that predator, and so then the main predator, like at one point you see him take off his mask a couple of times.
That's too far.
But
We haven't gotten there yet.
Oh yeah. Well, I just wanted to mention.
Okay,
Like,
because right now the predators are actually like chasing the humans at this moment.
yeah.
And the aliens are just kind of getting in the way of this, because the predators are trying to get the guns back so that they can fight the alien, or the xenomorphs.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they can't do that right now because they don't have the weapons to do it.
Yes.
So Predator doesn't. So he walks past Waylon.
When he gets the kill, he doesn't he?
That's after this.
Oh.
That's after this. So Waylon doesn't kill, or I'm sorry, Predator doesn't kill Waylon
you're
first,
right, yes.
because he sees he is sick. So we
Yes.
saw this in Predator 2.
Yeah,
when
he's got
Predator,
morals.
when Predator saw the baby, he was able to see inside the human
Right.
thing to see that, like, oh, cancer is setting into his heart right now.
Well, and I noticed in this movie too, they made a point of it that every time you went into Predator vision, they would look at a person and then they would look at a gun and see if it was in their hand or not. Because when they attacked the outside crew, the guy who got away and slid down the tunnel at first was unarmed, and the Predator was just watching him. And then he saw there was a gun laying on the ground, and as soon as he picked up the gun, that's when the Predator started
Which,
attacking him.
Referring back to Predator 2,
Yeah,
they don't kill anybody unless they are armed.
exactly.
Because
And-
they're attracted to violence, apparently.
Yeah, and heat.
Thank you, what is it, Gary Busey, for
Yeah.
explaining that in the last episode.
yeah.
Um,
So yeah, so
And
he
then
sees Waylon sick, and he's like, "I'm not going to kill this old cancerous." Like,
yeah, and
guy."
then Waylon's like, "Kill me!"
Yeah, basically, yeah. Don't you turn your back to me.
And then
That's what
and then he like shoots him 3 times, and then like Predator turns
No,
around,
no,
grabs
he-
him, and then like throws
he,
him. Doesn't he?
torches him. He takes out like a can of hairspray
Oh,
and a lighter, and he just torches him with fire.
And then it doesn't do anything to
Yeah.
Predator, so then he turns around, just beats the shit out of him, and
Yeah,
kills him.
yeah. Because I put yeah, I think I wrote, yeah, I was like, Waylon torches, then killed. It was like,
Then we get to see the frisbee, sort of a different frisbee though.
yeah,
at
and there's
the
only 2
59-minute
humans
mark.
left at this point.
Yeah, at the 59-minute mark, we are not even an hour in, and everyone has died, and there's
Yeah,
only 2
it's
humans left.
Italian and Lex.
Yeah, and the frisbee gets a return, but in like a different way. Because in the Predator 2, the frisbee was rotating; it was like a buzzsaw. But in this one, it was just like
Well, the first
a
one was
ninja
more of
star
a,
sort of thing.
yeah, the first one was more of a disc too. Like it didn't have
This one is a disc too,
but
It's
it has
just
like
nine-
extended,
yeah, it has like
extended blades.
yeah,
on it,
it
so
like
it's more like a
extends out.
shuriken.
Yeah, sort of
more
like that.
so than like a frisbee.
yeah. But he throws it like it. He like
Right, right.
more of a discus size. He like
Yeah.
throws it like a discus.
It's a side shuriken, I
yeah.
guess.
And the frisbee. Oh yeah,
which
this-
they
this
don't
is coming-
take, by the way. It lands in the wall and they don't take it with them.
Yeah.
which I thought they did, but it was weird.
So this is where the frisbee, he does kill a face hugger with the frisbee.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because
And-
he's got multiple of them apparently.
Yeah, and then as soon as he does that, then all of a sudden a xenomorph pops to the
Yeah.
side, and Predator does this like whoosh,
Yeah,
like nothing
no-look
happened.
slice.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you see
Yeah, half the alien's face just slides right off, and then it drops dead on the ground.
that looked like practical effects,
Oh, that was
and which was really cool. I definitely thought that was cool.
yeah, that was a really good shot, and they did a really good job with like the brain matter and stuff. Which I'll bring up a point about that a
It
little
looks
bit
like
later.
eggs.
Yeah,
It was kind of like
weird.
green eggs and ham kind of thing.
Yeah, it was really
But
strange.
also,
looking.
what happens in the scene though? Do you remember what happens?
Yeah, and so this is what I was going to bring up because this is the first time that the Predator takes his mask off.
But we don't see this.
Yeah, we don't necessarily
From
see
the back
his,
we see it.
Yeah, we don't see his face really. It like kind of shies away from his face. You only really see his mask, and he takes one of the face hugger's little appendages, like a leg or whatever, and rips it off, and then marks the mask with a little symbol, and then you see him bring it up to his head, but you don't actually see him do it. It's like still kind of cut away, like it keeps cutting back and forth to the humans because they're watching him do it, and then he marks himself. And then the humans leave, and then as it's cutting away from the humans, you see the Predator standing there with his back turned, and then another face hugger sneaks up and jumps, and then cut away
it
from
cuts
that
to it.
off screen. So
And then we get this explanation of that the predators used to rule us, like
Yeah.
Egyptians
So-
in the time.
yeah, so I put right here. I put Ancient Aliens. If you've seen that show, then I'm sure you're
yeah.
very familiar with the concept of aliens coming to Earth.
Well, it's the
and
meme too.
Yeah, and show,
Aliens.
yeah, anything that's unexplainable on Earth that's been built by humankind thousands of years ago that we can't figure out. Aliens.
We're not saying that the alien. There is no record saying that the aliens weren't at the first Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Therefore.
Yeah, because the pyramid that they discover, they mention it several times throughout the movie. It's got hints of Cambodian,
Egyptian,
and Mayan.
Yeah.
And so they've got like all three different pyramid styles in one pyramid.
And then also we see kills one facehugger room full of them. I don't know what that one was from.
Oh yeah, so it cuts to Irish, and it turns out he's alive.
Oh,
He's-
right.
he-
That's
yeah,
right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
They're in the alien hive essentially. The aliens when they're born, and after they grow up, they secrete this weird mucusy stuff.
Wait,
all-
have we skipped when Italian dies?
No,
Not yet. That hasn't
no,
happened yet?
that comes a little bit later.
Okay.
That I think that's like right after this actually. Yeah.
Yep.
yeah,
Nope. Because so what happens? I now know what this is. He gets captured.
Who?
The
Yeah. Well, Irish gets captured.
Yeah.
first.
Yeah. Okay. So this is
yeah.
by himself. He's just by himself right
Yeah,
now, attached
well,
to a wall
because
of mucus.
Chibs is next to him on the mucus wall,
Yeah.
and then Lackey's next to him on the other side. But Irish wakes up, Chibs is face hugged, and then a face hugger's getting ready to get Irish, and he grabs the gun out of Chibs's thing, shoots it, and then it zooms out, and there's like 50 eggs there, all opening at the same time,
Yeah.
and then he says something, and then it cuts away.
And then the
this-
slow motion jump over the broken
Yes,
bridge
yes.
happens.
And
Yeah.
this-
Okay.
yeah.
so-
Italian and Lex are running because they're getting attacked. I think by aliens. At this point.
Yeah. Xenomorphs are chasing him now.
Yes. Yeah. Because they're in this little weird maze tunnel kind of thing, and like 3 or 4 xenomorphs are chasing after them, and then
Well-
they jump across like a bridge.
Yeah. Actually,
Or a destroyed
I
bridge.
jumped ahead of myself. One of the xenomorph captures
Yeah.
Italian, and
Yeah,
then
'cause
Lex is just left there
Yeah. She tried to jump
because
the bridge
Predator
and missed.
shows up, right? Or is Predator showed up yet?
Sort of, yeah, because Lex was dangling off the bridge. She jumps across the bridge and the bricks give out, and she's like trying to climb
Oh
up
yeah,
the
and then
bricks,
yeah.
movie style. And then the magic of cinema, where Italian jumps, dives, and catches her just at the right time. The whole wrist arm catch, where if that happened, he would have gone right over the side with her.
Yeah.
But so he pulls her kind of halfway up, and she's hanging onto the bricks, and then he gets got by a xenomorph, and then she pulls herself up, and then that's when the Predator, I think, shows up because he's getting ready to kill her because he sees that she's got the gun in her backpack.
Yeah, and then she's like, hold
Yeah.
on. And then she tries to give it to him, and then he's like, huh? Like this
Yeah.
lost puppy
Yeah, he
like
does
look
the
to
head tilt.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
he like looks at him. And then I wrote at 1 hour and 8 minutes human kills xenomorph.
Yes.
Because they find the xenomorph shows up and Predator and Alien finally fight in like an open area for the first time.
Yeah, this is like
And-
a good hand-to-hand
Yeah.
combat scene.
So it takes an hour to get to this point.
Yeah.
The whole reason why you're sitting in the movie theater anyway. Because I
Yeah.
remember when I watched this in the movie theater for the first time, I thought this was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
And watching it again, I was like, this is cool. Why is it this late?
Right. Like it would have been way better if this would have been introduced like 20 minutes in. Like they should have just started out with the sacrifice stuff, I think. Like just started out with them. Oh yeah, okay, we're entering this pyramid or whatever, and then as they were going into the pyramid, they could have
Pretty much like the first like 20 minutes of explanation of
the
why
putting the team
everyone's
together
with
and
each
all
other.
that.
Like who cares? No one
Yeah.
no one is here to watch humans bitch at each other.
Yeah.
So that the predator and xenomorphs eventually show up.
Yeah, because they were all cannon fodder anyway. They all got killed.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, so she makes friends with Pred. Then she ends up, the predator.
Best friends. They're best friends now.
Yes, Pred
Yep.
and Lex.
Yeah, predator and human team up an hour and 12 minutes.
Yeah, he gets his spear knocked out of his hand, and then the xenomorph like chases after the girl, and she grabs the spear and impales him, and then the xenomorph dies. Oh nope, fake death. Comes back to life for one more quick bite, and then it dies officially.
Yeah.
You know, it did the slasher death.
Yes.
You know? And so she earns a kill and essentially earns the predator's respect.
Yeah, because we explained this in the second episode when we were talking about Predator 2 is when what do you call
Raphael
it?
Andolini.
Yes, the Raphael Andolini situation because of gosh, I can't even remember Danny Glover's character. But anyway,
Oh,
when
Harrigan
he killed,
or something like that.
Yeah, when he killed Predator,
Yeah.
that's a sign of you're a true warrior. Because if you can
Yes.
defeat us, you are a warrior.
Yeah, because the predators are the best hunters in space.
Yeah,
Essentially.
and so that's why when they gave him, so it's a sign of respect of like, okay, you killed him, and therefore you earned this. And so Harrigan got the gun,
yeah.
and then so in this situation, Predator sees that same situation where, okay, well, you earned your stripes essentially, and then really she earns her stripes later on in the movie because he eventually brands her. But yeah.
Yeah, because they essentially team up, and then this is the part where I was kind of questioning some stuff. So it's kind of inconsistent with the acid blood when it comes to the xenomorphs. Now the xenomorphs, like, since we're watching these in chronological order, it's going to be kind of strange when we do get to Alien,
because we don't get to an Alien movie until, let's see, we got 4 movies technically because we get to Prometheus.
Yeah.
But even then
And then
we
Alien
haven't gotten
Covenant.
to an Alien movie because Alien Covenant's after that.
Yeah.
Alien movie is like, what is it? How did I? 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah, it's like
5,
number 6 or
6
7.
movies away.
Yeah, because there's four Alien franchise films, and then
Yeah.
Prometheus and Alien Covenant I consider part of their own little thing. But yeah, so like in the first Alien movie, they but I guess it kind of makes sense from a standpoint too, where it's like new people and they're just discovering things and stuff. So you don't really find out the technical stuff behind this until later. But
Yeah, because they keep referring to Predator as aliens as well.
Yeah.
Which is weird because they're like, these things have existed, but then again, they won't know. They wouldn't
yeah,
know
they're
what
just
Predator looks
extraterrestrial
like.
beings to them, so
Yeah.
they don't know who they are or what they're called or nothing.
Yeah.
And so the aliens, the xenomorphs, which are the aliens, they have acid blood, okay? And so their blood burns through anything like titanium, steel, concrete, flesh especially.
Yeah.
And so you see it throughout the movie. There's acid blood getting splattered everywhere, burning things. So now the thing that I thought was weird was when the alien, so he cuts off like essentially I think it's called a carapace or whatever. It's like the exoskeleton of the alien, and he cuts off the skull, right? And so when he cuts into it, there's no acid blood. So I'm wondering if it's similar to how human anatomy is, because your brain, I think, is surrounded by a specific fluid or something.
Yeah.
There's no like blood actually in your.
Well, because he peels off this like shell.
Yeah, it's
because
like-
essentially the xenomorphs have this outer shell to allow it so that the acid doesn't hurt them.
Right.
So with the shell, that's why he takes the skull. Like he takes this top, the obvious like slick back black
Yeah,
head.
it's
that
the
it
head
has.
of the xenomorph.
Yeah, and he takes just the outer shell and he like slices it off.
It's just strange that there's no acid in the brain
Inside the
area.
brain area, yeah.
Yeah, but when
But
he
it
cuts
could
off
be
the
it could be
finger-
like how there's because you have layers of skin, so maybe that didn't break an artery, And so because he is a predator, I'm giving this film way bigger credit than it deserves.
Yeah, because I mean, I figured he's a hunter. He knows how to cut into animals and stuff. He captures and trophies skulls and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, and obviously he knew that was gonna work.
Yeah, he immediately cut into it without a second thought. But then when he cuts off the finger, it's still got the acid blood, and that's how.
But he does break an artery because you have arteries in your fingers,
right?
So that could be the reason why he knows. Is there arteries in your fingers? There's veins in your fingers.
Yeah, there's an artery running through your wrist into your hand.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
So it makes sense to me. Like, and I was wondering, but then I was also wondering if maybe when they die, their blood stops moving, and so maybe their skull, like, is not
pumping the blood anymore.
Right, and so maybe that's how they're able to cut into it. I mean, I'm thinking way too technical about this. But
I mean, it's a podcast, man. We're supposed to discuss it, so I mean, whatever you feel like it.
So, yeah, but he demonstrates essentially that the acid burns through anything but the alien cover. So, and then this is the only reason why I thought of it, because essentially she uses that as a shield.
Yes.
And puts her arm into the skull.
But it's clean, though.
Yeah.
It is like, well, in a matter of speaking, it's
how
cleaner.
did they clean it? One.
He scooped it out.
Yeah, like he must have had some kind of special chemical agent or something.
I don't know. I don't remember that part.
Yeah, and then they cut off this like random alien's tail and make a spear out of it.
Yeah, because when he peeled it off, it did kind of cleanly peel off.
Right.
Though, like a beetle shell.
Yeah, so I thought it was just a strange thing. So it's like, I guess their heads don't have acid running through them, but their bodies do. So it's just really weird.
I'm going to say...
it seems inconsistent to me, because later on when you... Well, I'll get to that, I guess. But...
Because like...
Well, in Netface, because you see Netface and his skull gets burned and it's acid burning through it.
But it's also breaking into that skin, though. Maybe it's like... maybe it's like... what is it? What's that animal that does that? There's some sort of animal that when you kill it, like, some fish do this.
It like secretes an enzyme.
Yeah, when you kill the fish, then it's bad now because the fish has now exerted all this toxin.
Oh.
And so now the fish is now deadly.
Oh, okay.
So you can't eat it now.
Yeah.
So if you explain it like that, where now but that would disprove the whole like removing it, because then there would be blood in there. But I think that when we got the side swipe alien kill, it did peel off, and you saw the layers of what the xenomorph skull looks like, which I think is this is some subtle movie telling. If this is, again, I don't know if I'm giving them way too much credit, but if you see that, you notice that there are layers to how the
looked like
xenomorph is
in there.
Yeah, the skull kind of just... There's this outer shell, like it is a beetle shell, that covers the top part of the xenomorph. So, if that is true, there's a top layer of this spongy skin stuff that is probably holding in, just like skin is holding your veins into each other.
Because he pokes the brain and it makes the mouth come out real quick and it scares the girl.
Oh, he does that? I can't remember.
Oh, yeah, because he takes his knife.
I was writing this probably.
Oh, okay, yeah, because he takes the knife after he skins it and he just kind of pokes it and it goes, and she stands up and she's like, oh, like that was weird, you know.
And then Predator, no, I just,
I think he did it on purpose. But, But yeah, it's just really interesting, the biomechanics of an alien, because later on too in the movie, essentially when you're kind of getting the backstory about all this, because we kind of been talking about it, because this is before Italian dies, they're reading some hieroglyphs on the ceiling, and that's when he's saying, oh, they come here every 100 years, and then they sacrifice humans or whatever, and we worship them as gods.
Flashback thing.
Yeah, and one of the predators is holding with a spear an alien skull above his head, and no acid's dripping onto him.
That's true, yeah.
So I guess it's just got to be the head, I guess. Maybe it's just in their body and it doesn't go in their brain.
I don't know, because, I don't know.
But then Netface gets caught with the net, and it constricts onto his shoulder and his face, and it burns through. Which,
like I said, it could have broke those arteries, veins that are running through his skull.
Some kind of membrane of some sort, or I don't know. It's not science, obviously.
Yeah,
but
it's made up.
It's just inconsistent. So that's my only issue with it.
Yeah, no. It's a rifle. That's the point of the podcast. We are supposed to dissect this literally in movies. So anyway, fast forward a little bit, not too far.
The Queen calls to them while right after this battle.
Yeah, because they are about to leave, and Predator just starts shooting his arm, like his shoulder cannon down this hallway to kill all these xenomorphs, and then the Queen calls them all back,
and Netface leads the charge back to the Queen,
and then they finally meet up with Sebastian is his name. He's Italian.
That's right.
I wrote his name down. His name's Sebastian.
That's right. Now I remember.
That does sound like an Italian name, though. But he's now in the chamber that Irish was in.
Yes.
And
Irish is dead
because she noticed that first.
Yeah, because a chest burster burst out of him because she was like, "Oh my god, like Irish."
Yeah, and then sees Sebastian, and then she's like, "Oh, I can't."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Kill me, kill me."
Yeah.
And then finally, there's like one bullet left in the gun, and Lex kills Sebastian, and then she walks away. And this is one of the best parts of this whole movie.
The Predator was going to kill him originally, and she was like, no, I got to help him, and he's like, dude, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, because he sees it. He sees that there is a chest burster swimming around in his stomach right now. And then finally, Lex is like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And then kills Sebastian, walks away, and then Predator does this like, well, damn! and then all of a sudden the chest burster still happens to pop out. It still
because I don't
shoots out.
She didn't shoot. I don't think she shot like the chest burster. I thought she just assumed, if I kill him, he'll die.
Or he ends his suffering kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. So at least that way, if it's going to be born, he's not getting ripped apart.
Yeah. And then so the chest burster pops out, and then Predator catches it.
Yeah.
And then he snaps it with his thumb.
Yeah, it's like snapping a chicken's neck almost.
It's just like the most brutal way. He just then he just snaps it with his thumb. So.
And I can't remember if he made a sound after he did that, but I swear, like, I think he laughed.
Oh,
like,
I didn't
with a little, like,
like,
I think he made a sound because he was just like, yeah, that's right,
And then at an hour, 18 minutes, this is the, wait, am I too far now?
Well, I don't know if were you going to mention the bomb?
No, I'm going to mention you are.
Oh, okay. So before that happens, they're in the nest in that hive, and they see that there's a shit ton of eggs. Predator sees through them with his little vision, sees that they're all the face huggers are activating.
Yeah.
So he takes his little wrist bomb off, that his self-destruct bomb
that we saw
in
Predator 1 and in 2?
No, in number 2 he tried to do it, but then he cut his arm off.
That's true. And then in Predator 1 we definitely saw it. That's the final scene.
The mini nuke or whatever. So he takes that off, throws it into the hive, and set the timer.
And then they start running.
And they're booking it out of the thing, and it keeps going to Predator vision of him going through the tunnels, and it's all in red, which was really weird because in this version, Predator vision was infrared, like when he takes his mask off, and then sometimes when they saw heat vision, it was orange instead of that.
Well, here's the other thing.
color.
Here's the other thing. Never saw through the Predator's eyes when he didn't have his mask off.
That's true. Yeah. They didn't show that. So
yeah, I didn't notice that until you just said that.
Yeah, it is kind of weird
because we've seen that in all the other movies.
Yeah.
Except for this one.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that is kind of weird. I didn't notice that until you just pointed that out too, because I just noticed that the infrared was different because it wasn't the rainbow colored heat vision. Instead, their heat vision was like this orange and red.
Yeah, it's the modern heat vision as opposed to back then. Well, I'm just saying, like in hunting, it's now the modern heat vision as opposed to in 1990.
Oh, okay. So maybe
in 1992,
maybe it's an upgrade for them.
Who knows? It's an upgrade for them probably. Yeah.
I mean,
or because it doesn't look like shit anymore. So.
And then we got
the big
quotable line here.
The big queen. Doesn't the queen show up at this point?
No, this is when so I want to say it was it's either Netface or just another alien,
because it was when
xenomorph.
Predator is fighting a xenomorph now. And then she goes, "You are one ugly mother," and then they start fighting again, or she gets interrupted somehow.
Yeah,
because she can't say the F word in a PG-13 movie of Predator and Alien.
I think that's part of the problem with this movie, but I guess we'll get into that a little bit later.
Predator and Lex slide up the hole.
Yeah, because
you can take that in what meaning you feel.
Yeah, there's a big explosion, And so as they're running out, they dive into that tunnel, and there's a little lift that
In the very beginning that they all came down in.
Yes,
This is,
and
and there's like a sled that's sitting there.
and she puts in a little password, and it activates the lift and starts shooting them up. And then Netface jumps to catch them, but he gets caught up in the fire and dies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think all the xenomorphs die
Yeah.
at this last scene.
Yeah, it's just everything's
Except-
exploding. And then and then
And I wrote
right-
more running.
well, and then you had mentioned it a little bit earlier because she officially earns her stripes here because she basically survived with this teenage predator, and so he's like, okay, you got to do it, and he takes one of the alien fingers that he took as a trophy, and basically is like, you got to get marked, and so she turns her cheek, and he marks her with the same symbol, which is it kind of looks like a T for lack of a better explanation. It looks like a two swipe T kind of.
And then they start
Yes.
running again because they start noticing that all the ice is falling down. And
Yeah, everything's collapsing.
Yeah. And so then they do a slow-mo jump to not fall into the hole that used to be the whaling place. And then we finally see at an hour 20 minutes in the unmasked predator.
Oh yeah, and so
No
yeah,
vagina face though. Did you notice that?
yeah,
they took that out.
He had a little jaw
Yeah.
weird thing.
He
And so,
didn't have the inside
and that's
labia.
yeah, and maybe that's because he's a young predator.
Or it's PG-13.
Because his face was kind of disproportionate. Like it looked like he had really big bottom mandibles, and his top teeth were really tiny.
Yeah. Is it me or did some of them look like? Did he look like he had a little bit of acne going on there too?
I think so. Like he
you
just,
may be right. He might
looked-
be a teenage predator.
He looked really goofy. Like it was just.
he
really
looked a little. It looked a little off.
Yeah, it was just really strange.
Yeah, and so this is actually the moment. An hour and 21 minutes in, Lex gets marked. So this is now what you just said.
Right. Yeah. It's after all the
But-
explosions and stuff.
That's not the end, because then one giant pissed off queen
Yeah.
shows up to try and take them on.
Yeah, and so the queen rips herself when the little drone aliens or whatever, they go down there and free her, and she rips herself off of like her little ovipositor thing, and so she's running around through the tunnels and stuff. But I'm not sure if they realize that the queen's escaped.
They don't even know the queen exists because they've never seen it yet.
That's true. Yeah, yeah. The aliens know it's there, but I don't think
the
I'm-
xenomorphs know it's there. Predator and Lex don't know that it's there.
Yeah, I think the predator. I think he might know it's there, but I don't think he knows its location.
Maybe,
he just
yeah.
knows that it's there to lay eggs, essentially. And then because I'm assuming that
They were briefed.
right. I'm sure they're probably like, you're going to go into enemy territory. There's an alien that lays eggs. Blah 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 blah. And then and so the queen pops up through the ice, and it looks like a giant T-Rex, is what I wrote,
Yeah.
because it walks a lot like a big dinosaur.
There's also this part where Lex is now trapped in this like broken down water tower.
Yeah, she's
and
running from
Predator or the queen is like trying to reach in to get her, and then all of a sudden Predator does
Dude.
this backwards stab,
Yeah.
and I'm like, what
Jump-
kind of
it's-
freaking John Woo movie?
Yeah, it was like a jump backwards 360.
Yeah, I
spear
wrote
to the
Predator
face.
backwards jump stabbed to Queen.
Yeah.
Queen. Oh, this is skipping
See,
a little ahead here.
and then this is where the inconsistencies come from, because Predator slices part of the queen's like carapace, I think, or whatever it's called.
Her little like crown thing
Yeah.
she has around her.
and so and it glows with the acid blood color, or like doesn't glow, I guess the Predator's
Just
blood
Predator's
glows,
blood clothes. Yeah.
but you can see that it's clearly bleeding, and it looks like there's acid blood, but it doesn't do anything. So I don't know if
I don't
it
know
just-
about
it-
this part. Yeah,
yeah,
because
it-
now that I think about it, yeah, the queen gets stabbed a few times.
Yeah, and sliced up a
never
couple times with
bleeds.
that thing.
So maybe the queen doesn't bleed acid.
yeah,
Maybe?
I don't know. Maybe
'cause-
only certain drones have it. Who knows?
Yeah, I have no idea.
I mean,
Uh,
yeah.
And then at an hour and 24 minutes, I wrote the queen. Oh well, actually, before that, the queen tries to kill Predator now because she's pissed.
Yes.
And how does that happen?
So
she
there-
picks him up.
Yeah. So
After this jump stab.
yeah,
Whatever this.
because the girl's trapped under this like old water tower that's like falling off the cliff of the explosion area,
Yeah.
and
Of the whaling area.
Yeah, and the queen, when she escapes, she has a bunch of chains still attached to her from where they were at. Because she was like chained up to this big machine that was keeping her in place, and when the alien drones come to free her, they like cut into her a little bit, so she does have acid blood because they bite into her, so that way her wrists and her
Oh,
body
that's
starts
right.
bleeding.
Yeah,
So it burns
this is
through all the
rewinding
mechanical
back
parts.
when Queen is trying to leave.
Yeah.
The xenomorphs are like shooting their tongue at her
Yeah,
to like
and-
her wrist so that it bleeds. You're right. That is.
Yeah, and so she
I don't
bleeds
know
through her
what's happening.
chains essentially.
Jeez, that scared me.
and so she's still got a couple chains attached to her. So Lex gets the idea to attach the chain to this big water tower thing, and the Predator jumps in, starts pulling it with her. They manage to get the chain attached, and as the Predator turns around and is like, "Oh, hey, good job." The Queen stabs her tail through his chest and like lifts
That's
him up
right.
and is getting
That's
ready
right.
to do the second mouth.
There
thing.
is a cool shot though when that happens because she's picked him up and now it's just
Yeah.
this face to face with Predator and a xenomorph.
Yeah,
for the,
which they did do in the
they did with
earlier
just
part,
with a
but it's just
drone, but it
yeah.
wasn't. But this is now like the Queen is doing this now.
Yeah, because this is like the main badass Predator and then the Queen alien. So essentially
Yeah.
the top two of these two enemies
Of
or
this
whatever.
situation, yes.
Yeah, and so so she's holding them, getting ready to like go with her second mouth, and then the Lex takes a crowbar and manages to loosen up the water tower, and it falls. And so as she falls, she flings the Predator off, and he goes flying into the snow, and then
Flying into the snow like a rag doll.
yeah, and then the Queen falls into the water and like
Because the
sinks.
chains are attached to the water tower, and
Yeah.
she's now
It's essentially an
dripping down.
anchor, and she sinks to the depths of the ocean.
Yeah, of the Antarctic Ocean. So
Yeah.
she's now frozen. And then
And then-
Predator dies officially 1 minute later after that.
Yep, Lex shares a moment. Like
Yep.
they kind of look into each other's eyes. He knows he's gonna go, and then he dies.
But we also get a reappearance.
I was gonna say,
Of-
was that the same one?
I don't know, but he definitely held himself almost exactly in the second one.
He looked the same a little
Maybe.
bit. Like he had the gray hairs.
Yeah,
and everything.
maybe that is it. An elder Predator shows up because
Yeah.
a whole Predator crew ship, which is like 3 times bigger than what we
Yeah.
saw before, shows up to take the body, sees the mark. The elder sees the mark, and then the elder gives a spear
Yep.
that was that Predator's
and,
spear.
and he had the mark. So I'm assuming that was the young Predator's father.
Maybe, yeah.
Like if it's not the same old Predator from number 2, or maybe it's possible that
It could be the same one because I mean,
maybe-
who knows how long it aged?
right. And I was thinking too, maybe if anything, maybe it was the old Predator from number 2, because I mean it's only been like 6 years, 7 years.
Well, 97 and 2004.
Yeah, so 7 years. So I mean,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have been that long of a difference. So it could be the same one, or if it was maybe young Predator or whatever. Like, no, I'm just gonna say it's the same one.
Okay,
He
yeah,
loo-
well,
he
we
looked
can
the
say it.
same.
Who cares? I don't care.
Yeah, because when I looked at him, I was like, is that the same one? Like, and then maybe he was showing his kid the rope. He's like, okay, son, it's your turn to like.
Yeah, but
go
he
be
didn't
a
make it.
man.
He didn't make it.
Yeah, and you could tell he was sad too when he
Sad
like
Predator.
yeah, because when he handed out the spear and did the thing, and he's like, okay, take it, just take it,
Yeah.
you know. And the girl takes it, and then he just kind of walks away, and you could tell he was
Yeah,
kind
no
of
words
upset.
were exchanged at this one.
Yeah.
Like in the second one, Danny Glover does hear the Predator.
Yes.
Dang, why am I getting like?
And I thought it was funny too because when they leave her, I wrote it down before I realized that she got into the little snow trawler or whatever. But at first I was thinking like they walk away, they get on their ship, they take off, and then I was like, wait, is she just stranded there now?
Yeah,
Like-
they just leave because
Yeah.
this is the end of the movie. The big ship flies away,
Yeah.
and then
And
at an
you s-
hour 28 minutes,
Yeah.
we zoom in on Teenage Predator, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah,
you
chest-
see
chest
chest
burster.
burster Predator.
The Pred
It's
alien is what they call it.
The xeno, the
It's a
Predator
yeah.
morph. The Predatomorph. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's the Predatomorph.
Yeah, they yeah,
And then that's the end of the movie.
because I don't like I think they call it the Pred alien in
The Predalien.
Yeah,
That's
it-
made up. That's not cool.
No, yeah, because like I think they call it that in the second movie, if I'm not mistaken, or at least what they put in the title or the credits or whatever. But yeah, I thought it was funny because when they take off, like that girl's walking towards that little snow thing, and it's like, is there anybody left on the ship? Like, did
Yes, there is. There is. Because
Oh,
that was
okay.
just the crew. That was just the crew.
Okay,
And then
yeah,
the ship
'cause-
was like way back because that's why Lex tells Waylon go wait on the ship
Oh,
that because
that's
it's a
right.
big giant
Yeah,
ship.
because they had to take a bunch of different vehicles and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And
So there is a crew. She's not going to be left there
Okay.
alone.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we have now headed into that was the whole walkthrough. We are now going to the IMDb corner because we get all of our information from IMDb. We're not sponsored by them, though I'm willing. But they're because this is all the trivia from them. So if you guys want to check out even more, because I'm just gonna brief this. What is that? Breach the surface.
yeah,
Scoop the top of this whole information station.
the tip of the iceberg. if you
Exactly.
will.
Yeah. Hey, because it was in Antarctica. And so what I do is here, if you this is your first episode, which you're 3 episodes in, so go check
Yeah,
out the
go
last.
watch the other 2.
Yeah.
Damn it.
So the IMDb corner is where we take a look at some trivia. So let's head over to let's see the.
Wait,
Did
are
you
you
know
kidding me?
what?
Apparently, it won some awards.
I mean, I don't know. It's 2004, man. So
Well, I mean, it's like for best Italian performer.
best Italian performer.
Yeah, so that must have been Italian. And then the Chainsaw Award for worst film.
Nice. Nice. Okay, so this is what I do. I read the top. Have I been doing 10? I've been doing 10 trivia. Or do you want me to shorten it? We went kind of
well-
long on this one.
Well, the trivia, I think you were doing the top 5, and then
Top 5. Okay,
yeah.
I'm gonna write that down now. So if I did more, there you go. You got
then
more for the other
and then
movies.
What was that mystery box thing you had me pick from? Like a
Yes,
couple of
we'll
them?
get to that in a second.
Oh,
So
okay.
this is the trivia part. So, did you know? In an interview with director Paul W.S. Anderson, said that Arnold Schwarzenegger offered to reprise his role
What?
as Dutch from Predator 1987
I
at
didn't
the end
realize
of
that
this
on this
movie.
one.
At the end of this movie, as a cameo. But
Oh.
only if he lost the election for California Governor Schwarzenegger formally won the election, so he was unavailable to appear.
Oh wow.
Number 2, the Antarctic setting on Buenovit Island is based on the unexplored Vela incident of September 22nd, 1979, where a satellite recorded a flash of light near the island. It was first speculated to have been a man-made nuclear explosion of the natural event, or a natural event such as a meteor strike, but this has never been resolved. So they actually based that whole like laser beam hole thing on, and the explosion of the whale place on this September 22nd, 1979 event. Number 3, when Lex asks Sebastian, how do you say scared shitless in Italian? He replies, non vedo l'ora di oltre dal. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a long.
It's a long
sentence.
thing. Translated, this literally means I can't wait to get out of this pyramid with you because I'm shitting myself.
Yeah, because when she asked that, he's like, "How do you say shit in Italian or whatever?" Blah, 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 blah,
Yeah,
blah.
because I think the
More
joke
or
is like,
less.
hey, it's Italian, so I'm gonna make it like way longer
Yeah,
because it's a foreign
exactly.
language. Number 4 was rumored to be in development. Wait, what? Why? This is how this starts. Was rumored to be in development ever since a skull from the title characters in the Alien film series appeared in the spaceship trophy room in Predator 2 in 1990, even though that was only meant to as a nod to the Predator or the popular Alien vs. Predator comic book series. So the Alien vs. Predator comic book series started this whole craze, and then in Predator 2 they made the nod with the
Yeah, they
like how we were
"Hey,
mentioning.
what you're doing is pretty cool, so we'll
Yeah,
like, throw in
and
an
that was
Easter
just
egg."
the thing. But then the movie was because it was a craze in like the early 90s.
Yeah.
Because there's a Nintendo 64 game on that, right? Isn't there?
I think it was originally released for PC, and then they ported it to a couple of the systems because I think it's on PlayStation also.
They also did make an Xbox 360 Alien vs Predator video game. It's not bad. The human section is stupid. But being Predator is really awesome, and there's also because there's 3 different story modes.
Yeah, and
you can play as
get
Alien,
you get all
Predator.
the visions and stuff.
Yeah,
and
so
then
it
the
is kinda
alien
cool.
can climb on walls and go
Yeah,
anywhere at
because
once.
playing as Alien is more of a stealth game.
Mm-hmm.
Playing as Predator is like it's just Doom essentially.
Yes.
And then when you're playing as a human, it's like a survival horror.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. And then the last one, while this film languished in development hell, quote unquote, for years, 20th Century Fox considered producing a 5th film in the Alien Alien franchise, end quote, for some reason. Instead, James Cameron, who wrote and directed Aliens 1986, had written a script and even approached Sigourney Weaver to star and Ridley
Oh.
Scott to direct, both of whom expressed interest. When the studio decided to use the Alien and Predator crossover story instead, Cameron, Weaver, and Scott all decided that distanced themselves from the project and later declared they would never work on either franchise again. Several years later, Ridley Scott ended up reworking his pitch into his Alien prequel, Prometheus. There is one more if you want to. Bonus trivia! I'm only going to read this because they mentioned the ugly mother.
Oh, right.
Lex calling an alien an ugly mother with a sound drowning out the later part due to the PG-13 rating is a reference to the two previous Predator films in which Arnold Schwarzenegger, Predator 1987, and Danny Glover, Predator 2 1990, refer to the Predators as such. That is the trivia section of this.
And so and then it's like because there's like little Easter eggs that connect these movies together and make them loosely canon with one another. Because initially, like he said, it was just a nod originally in Predator 2, and then they were like, "Hey, we need to make it a movie," and then it took like 12 or 14 years to actually develop and turn into a film.
So here's the mystery box part. All right, Josh, you get a
Okay.
lead. Which one are we going with? Are we going with quotes, goofs, or crazy credits?
Let's go with quotes.
Quotes.
Because I can't, other than the idioms, I don't really remember any good quotes. So I remember Bishop. He don't turn your back on me. That's the only one I really remember besides the condom joke or whatever, or the line.
All right, so we're going to get two quotes here.
Okay.
Sebastian goes, thousands of years ago, these hunters found a backwater planet they taught humans how to build and were worshipped as gods. Every 100 years, the gods would return, and then they did. And when they did, they would expect a sacrifice. Humans were used to breed the ultimate prey. The predators would battle with these great serpents to prove themselves worthy to carry the mark. But if the hunters lost, they made sure nothing survived. An entire civilization wiped out overnight. Lex. So the humanoids, the hunters, they brought those creatures here to hunt, Sebastian, and they use us like cattle. We're hosts for them to breed. The heart bloom were designed to lure us down. Oh wait. We're hosts to the heat bloom. Oh, was designed to lure us down here. The whole thing was a trap. Without us, there could be no hunt. So I didn't realize that because like they do reference that in the beginning of the movie where there's like, oh, we got heat signatures from this location, so that's why they're going there.
Yeah.
And then I totally forgot that because now that
triggers
explains why they're even going there in the first place. Why Waylon wants to go there, why this whole thing happens.
Yeah, and that triggers the Predator's initial, like, it pops, like, there's a little room or whatever with, like, the 3 Predator masks and, like, a map of the temple, and as soon as the heat kicks in, it activates that room also. You see that at some point. I can't remember exactly when.
I'm not going to read the top. I'm going in order based on thumbs ups. The next one is talking about what we've already talked about, where Lex is talking with Bishop, with Waylon, about how like the whole thing, the mountain.
Can I read this one real quick?
What do you got?
Okay, so Sebastian, I think this is a manhood ritual. The humanoid ones, they've been sent here to prove that they're worthy to become adults. And then Lex says, "You're saying they're what? Teenagers?"
Oh, there you go. There you
that
go.
was the line that I heard when. Yeah, so that I think that's so funny. Like, it's like they might be 16 years old. You know,
Yeah.
they're like just learning how to drive.
The team of okay, so this is when the team finds the Predator shoulder cannons. Miller says, "Any idea what these are?" Sebastian, "No." You? Miller, "No." Maxwell, "It's a good thing we brought the experts." Miller, "Well, yeah, it's a good thing because this is like finding Moses's DVD collection."
I do remember him saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. There's your quotable stuff. But we head into one of our favorite segments, at least one of mine, and that is taglines. There are only 3 for this movie. Whoever wins, we lose. I remember that one. Do you remember that one? That was on the posters.
Yeah, I want to say they used that one for the game too, maybe.
Yeah, I think so too. That's a good one. It's our planet. It's their war.
I remember that one. I think I remember seeing that one on the poster.
Yeah, and here's the last one. The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Of course.
There you go. There's your tagline.
Let's go find our friend.
I've honestly, that's my favorite part of this whole show is reading those taglines. The release date was August 13th, 2004. So why they were referring to October 10th, 2004, I don't know. But that's the thing.
Well, I was gonna say, I think when they were doing the thing about when they were talking about the Mayan calendar, I think they said it was in not decimals, but in it's to the 10 account 10 or whatever, so maybe that has something to do with it.
Yeah. The budget was $60 million estimated. Opening week only got to $38,291,056. That would be really good, except they spent double that to try and do it. But luckily for them, it grossed $172,544,654 worldwide. So definitely had that effect of.
I wonder why it got a sequel.
Yeah, it definitely had
Thanks,
a better
rest
success.
Of the world.
Yeah, I don't know if this was aired in China. I can definitely tell.
Probably was. Do they have a thing on? Oh, well, I got filming locations, but.
Yeah. I mean, you can say also known as, which no, it did not. It did not air in China.
Oh yeah, only in Chile and Canada and Croatia.
Yeah, those are the only C names. And then we go into some tech specs, which is, let's see here. Runtime is 101 minutes, 109 minutes for the unrated edition. Dolby, the sound mix was DTS and Dolby, does it say what camera? They filmed on a 35 millimeter Kodak film. And then it was digitally cinema aired in 2K, which is pretty cool. And then Super 35 was the format for the cinematographic process. And then it was printed film format was 35 millimeter in Kodak Vision. So there you go. There's your Kodak Vision advertisement there, because it does make itself. But we head into our last thing, which is our rating. What are we giving this so far? Josh, can you tell us what the ratings are so far here?
Okay, so Predator, so these are the averages between our two scores. So Predator got an 8.5 and Predator 2 got a 6.5.
Yes. So
Predator is still the top movie this season.
What did you give AVP, Alien versus Predator?
Okay.
That is the full title of this film. I don't know why they put the abbreviation and then the broken out version of it.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. So now as far as backstory goes, like exposition wise, I thought the backstory was great. Practical effects, excellent. CGI, not bad. A little dated, but not bad. Overall, I wasn't too thrilled with how long it took for the aliens and predators to duke it out, and the movie went by fast, but took a long time to start. If that makes any sense. Like the first,
it does for anyone that saw the movie.
Yeah, like the first 45 minutes, like you could condense that down to like 10 or 15 minutes and make the movie more about the predator and aliens fighting. I felt like they killed the predators off, the two predators, a little too soon. I wish one of them would have lasted just a little bit longer and given the aliens a fight. Overall, the movie's okay. It's not as bad as I remember, because I remembered really not liking it when I first saw it. But this time, I kind of had more fun with it. Now that
I think because we're doing the podcast,
yeah,
really. Yeah.
Like I think, yeah, and I think this is only like the second or third time I've ever seen it. I saw it in theaters. I saw it when it came out on DVD. I just wanted to watch it again, and I think this is only the third time I've ever watched it. So overall, I give this movie a 5 out of 10. It's just an average kind of blah movie that's easily forgettable. But
funny you mentioned that. A 5 to 5.9 for us is a meh.
Okay, yeah, that's basically what it is a meh.
Yeah. So yeah, my thing is kind of the same, of where I looked at it as, with Predator and Alien only like they finally get to like a hand-to-hand combat. Like they do fight each other, but they're very fast, and it's not something that like it's just like quick stuff. It's not happening
Honestly,
yet
the
until an
coolest-
hour in.
Yeah, and the coolest hand-to-hand stuff is when the Predator picks up one of the xenomorphs by the tail and
Yeah,
swings
which
him
is an
into a
hour
bunch of
into the movie.
columns.
Yeah,
and stuff.
so the thing is like I remember, because okay, I saw this film in theaters, and so this was like the because I wasn't allowed to watch any rated R movies when I was a kid. So when this movie came out, this is gonna hurt you there, Josh. Fourth grade was when this movie came out for me.
Oh shit!
So,
yeah, I was 2 years out of high school.
Yeah, so when I watched this movie, I was like, I thought it was really cool because I never saw Predator before.
Oh, okay.
I never saw Alien. So when I saw this, I'm like, oh man, this is so cool. Like these two big giant alien monster things are fighting each other. And I thought it was kind of weird that like the girl was like teaming up with them. But as a kid, I was like, oh man, that's cool. But then as like now watching it, I was like, that is kind of stupid. Like, why did he just like? But I think if I watch this movie by itself and not knowing the knowledge I know from Predator and Predator 2 and dissecting them like we did,
Right.
I would have watched this as, why is he still allowing her to be like working with him?
Oh,
But
okay.
because we saw in Predator 2 and we've explained, there's this like code of conduct that
Right.
that the Predators have that explains why
more
he's done
context
this.
to
Yeah,
it
yeah.
now.
So with those movies, I'm actually even like giving it a little bit more credit but separating it, because that's not what this is about. The review needs to be about the movie itself. So I gave it a 5 out of 10 as well.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So and the thing is like it's meh. I don't hate it.
Right.
I definitely thought it was cooler as a kid, but as like a movie goer now, it definitely has some hokey elements
Yeah,
to it.
absolutely.
And sometimes it's cute, and sometimes it's like, dude, come on, like let's just come on. And the thing was, is like how we were explaining it. If they just started the movie when they got to the whaling station, that would have been a perfect start. And then added that like 25 minutes of exposition in the beginning of the movie to more alien and predator fights,
Yeah.
I would have been totally okay. This movie could have probably got a 7.
Yeah.
But because of that, because the movie is not, to me, it's kind of like when the Friday the 13th films, and we can do a whole season on that too. But the Friday the 13th films eventually realized after like the second film, everyone's going to see because Jason.
Right.
They're not going to see because they want to hope, oh, maybe a human will escape. No, they don't care. They want to see the humans die. That's what the point of seeing this movie was.
They're
It's
there
like,
to see the monster.
yeah, I want to see them fight each other. It's versus Alien versus Predator. So
Yeah, not story about humans with aliens.
yeah, and there's
predators
this like love
occasionally
interest
coming in.
that maybe like he's going through puberty, so he's having a lot of
Dude, I
confusing
didn't even
thoughts.
think about that.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't
Oh
know
my
what's going
God.
on.
Yeah, maybe he had a crush on
Yeah,
her.
and then he dies, so that never happens.
Aw,
So
lame. He didn't even get laid.
yeah, you know, he died for nothing.
Damn,
anyway,
man.
so yeah, I think it's definitely a 5.
It just meanders a lot in the beginning. Like that first
It's
hour.
a
is just-
weak. It's a weak start
Yeah.
for that first like 30 minutes to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it does need to explain some stuff. I will admit, like them taking the time to explain like why the temple exists. They do need to explain that. Why does the
Yeah.
temple exist? Why are the predators here?
Well, and they did that very well by
No, they definitely did.
reading the hieroglyphics, and then it took them 2 or 3 minutes to explain that. I mean, we just read the quote, and that was literally the entire back exposition. It took them 2 minutes to explain it.
yeah,
all.
and they did the whole the whole not QuickTime, but the whole flashback, and that didn't suck me out of the movie. That explained why things are happening. But the thing is like there's just so much beginning filler stuff that you're like, all right, I'm already bought the ticket. Like I'm already here in the theater. Like you don't need to explain this stuff to me. I already know what a predator is. I already know what an alien is.
Yeah, it's not an origin story.
Yeah.
You know, like they don't need to explain like how all these characters get set up and everything. They just need to have it start.
Yeah. So That's why I gave it a 5.
And also too, there are just way too many human characters just in general. Like all the tertiary characters that you never learn their names, all the secondary characters that you might hear their names once and then you forget about them. And it's like even the main characters, most of them are forgettable. Like it's pretty much Bishop, Italian, Irish, and Lex. Those are the only 4 that I really remember.
Yeah. Well, Bishop is Waylon.
Yeah, I just call him Bishop because well.
We'll find that out later.
Yeah, just keep that in mind, people.
So, so that's the end of the show. That's the end of this episode. Are there any closing statements you want to talk about? You want to sign us out and talk about what we're watching next?
Oh, sure, yeah, okay. So yeah, and I guess obviously the average of this. So this is a 5. So it comes in. It's been beaten by our previous 2 movies.
Yeah, it definitely. I honestly thought Predator 2 was going to get docked down because I was like, man, a 6.5, that might be the lowest one.
Yeah.
And then I watched AVP, and then it's like, oh boy.
Just whew. And then so so apparently the world wanted to watch enough of this movie to warrant a sequel. So our next movie will be AVP R, which is Alien versus Predator Requiem.
Yeah, that's the boy.
And so we're gonna get a sequel, and chronologically speaking, this one takes place literally right after AVP. So it's gonna pick up right where the other movie left off in 2004. That's pretty much. I'll just leave it at that because I don't want to obviously get into a review of any sort. But I think. And it's gonna be funny too because like as we get through some of these, it'll I feel like in retrospect it'll be like, oh, I kind of feel bad for giving that movie this score. I could have given it a better score, or something. Like so, I'm just afraid that's gonna happen with 1 or 2 of these as we watch through them.
Yeah.
Because some of them, like I have a feeling I'm gonna be mad about myself for not giving ABP something higher.
Yeah, because then something else is gonna be like, oh well. This was definitely worse than AVP,
Yeah.
so then you got to give it lower than a 5.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I'll send you what the ranking system is so that you can kind of attach it to something. But I definitely feel like it's meh. It's a meh movie. Like, so I don't know. But anyway,
easily forgettable, but fun to watch if maybe you're with a group of friends or something and you just want to see.
Yeah, you want background noise.
If you want something in the background, or if you want to wait an hour and watch a semi decent monster.
Wait an hour.
Yeah, just put it on, do something for an hour, and then come back.
Come back.
Yeah, and then you'll start seeing some action. Maybe come in at 45 minutes so that way you have enough time to get prepped for the good stuff.
yeah, that's about it. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for listening. If you guys want to subscribe to all of our platforms, we are an audio podcast as well, mainly. And you can listen to us. You can subscribe to us over there on iTunes, Primal Target, search it. There it is. Boom, bam, hit that subscribe button. There are plenty of other podcasts over there as well.
Thank you, man.
Yep, you got PT3600, you got Bitcade, and then you got this show. So you got a lot of stuff if you're just subscribing, you're just listening for the first time. So go listen to all those. But my Android people, do not worry because you can download Podbean, and there are not only our podcasts, but there are plenty of others over there. So if you've been like, oh, I haven't been able to listen to podcasts, don't worry, sir or madam, because you can do it too. Just download Podbean, and you can listen to Primal Target.
What is Podbean?
It's just an app, and then you just search podcasts. It's just a podcast app. Yeah.
I hadn't heard of it. Is it only for Android?
It's on Apple because I have it on here too.
Okay, maybe it's just because I have.
Yeah, because iTunes has their own podcast app, so that's why.
That makes sense.
But here's a little thing. If you guys have ever thought about doing, this is not a plug for Podbean, but I'm just saying, they host us, so that's why we upload it to them and they do it, and then the RSS feed goes to iTunes. That's how it works.
Oh, gotcha.
So that's why we're able to go on 2 platforms. But yeah, if you guys also want to watch the video version or all of our other videos, because there are over 500 videos over there on YouTube from us, you can go and hit subscribe right over there too. Just search Primal Target. It's the same logo. It's a purple circle with Primal Target written in it. And yeah, you subscribe, watch all the videos. And then you can watch the video version of this, comment what you felt about Alien versus Predator as well. And then tune in the next episode, like Josh was saying, in AVPR. And that will be the next movie combat.
Movie combat.